Today, millions of American families are dealing with stress and anxiety over their access to food and health insurance on day 33 of the shutdown. Mounting frustration with congressional deadlock coming from all corners of the country, from kitchen tables to the Oval Office. Both House party leaders having their say this morning.
This is not about winning a political contest here. Real people are losing. The American people are hurting. He is a big-hearted president. He wants everybody to get their services and the health services for veterans and SNAP benefits and all the rest.
It's very unfortunate that Donald Trump and Republicans have decided to weaponize hunger and withhold SNAP benefits, even in contravention of 2 federal courts. We're asking Republicans to sit down, as we've indicated our willingness to sit down with them anytime, any place, anywhere.
Joining us now is Democratic Representative from New Mexico, Melanie Stansbury. Welcome back to the broadcast. So, Congressman, we are over a month now into this shutdown, and we've heard rumblings of discussions to end it. You have Texas Senator Ted Cruz, who predicted the government will open on Wednesday or Thursday. What are your Senate colleagues saying behind closed doors? Because you now have the largest federal workers union in the country calling for Democrats to step back from their health care demand and relieve the suffering and the hardship. So are Democrats in this for the long haul, no matter what the pressure?
Yeah, let me just say, Democrats want the government reopened. We have been there every single week since the shutdown happened, but Mike Johnson has completely locked out the House. And in fact, I left Washington, D.C. on Thursday night, and right before I left for the airport, I talked to leadership and I said, are we going to be back in session? Are we going to reopen the government next week? And I was told the indications from Republicans were that they were going to call their own members back next week. But then Friday, yesterday, or 2 days ago, the Speaker of the House canceled votes yet again. So we are now on the 33rd day of the shutdown, and the Speaker of the House is refusing to sit down with Democrats. The president hasn't met with Democrats in over a month. They are refusing to negotiate, and now the president has withheld food assistance for 42 million Americans against 2 court orders. So I find it a hard pill to swallow when I hear Republican leadership trying to pin shutdown blame on Democrats when they have literally had the House out of session for more than a month and are refusing to sit down and negotiate and reopen the government.
You know, to the SNAP benefits there, on Friday, a federal judge did order the Trump administration. They've got to continue paying out SNAP benefits from the emergency fund. The administration has until tomorrow to respond what it plans to do, but that certainly leaves things a bit unsettled still today. New Mexico has some of the highest SNAP participation in this country. You've got more than 457,000 people statewide. It's nearly 22% of the state's population. What are you hearing from your constituents, and can local food banks make up the needed difference?
Yeah, let me be clear first and foremost. Donald Trump is choosing to withhold food assistance from 42 million Americans. There is an emergency contingency fund exactly for emergencies like this. And while the president has found many authorities for which he probably doesn't have the legal or constitutional authority to give bailouts to Argentina to help his billionaire friends, he's demolishing the White House, and he's throwing lavish parties at his private club in Florida. He is choosing to let tens of millions of children and elders in this country go without food assistance this weekend. Now, in New Mexico, we have taken the step of making sure that our people can get food on the table. Our governor announced on Thursday that we are making $30 million available and funding about 10 days of emergency food assistance through state funding, but it's not enough to get us through the month. And so these court orders by 2 federal judges on Fridays directing the Trump administration to use emergency contingency funds are vital to make sure that Americans all across the country can put food on the table. And I want to say this, you know, I grew up in a low-income family. I know how vital those extra supplemental funds are for a family. You know, families do whatever they have to survive, but just that little extra help, that few extra dollars a day could mean the difference between your grandparents, your children, the ability of someone who's sick in your family or disabled or a veteran being able to put food on the table. And I think it's disgusting, immoral, and unconscionable that the administration is actually using food as a weapon against our people while they are throwing parties at a private club in Florida. It's disgusting.
So Democrats are trying to address the perception of the party, but according to a new Washington Post ABC News Ipsos poll, almost 7 in 10 Americans say the Democratic Party is out of touch with the reality of most people. How important is this shutdown fight to turning around that perception? And if Democratic leadership can't do it, what then?
You know, I think that most Americans feel like politicians are out of touch with their everyday needs. And I think that's why some of the people who are poised to win their elections on Tuesday are doing such an extraordinary job of reaching the American people. When you look, for example, at what's happening in the New York City race, in the gubernatorial races in New Jersey and in Virginia, the reason why those candidates are doing so well is because they're connecting with voters, because they are telling the people, you know, we care about you. We are fighting to get the government reopened. We're trying to address food assistance. We're trying to address the healthcare crisis. And I think if anyone is grossly out of touch with the American people, it's Donald Trump throwing these lavish parties and building a ballroom in the middle of a shutdown, while real Americans are actually hurting. But, you know, at the end of the day, the most important thing that all of us need to do as leaders and community members is reconnect with our humanity and with each other. And I think that Tuesday's election results are going to show that the American people understand who's with them and who's with the billionaires.
New Mexico Congresswoman Melanie Stansbury, it's always good to talk with you. Thank you so much.